Today is Thanksgiving Day. I think this year will be a year that will be more thankful than other years. It is like a confession from Habakkuk. This year will be grateful. Habakkuk chapter 3 verse 17 to 18.
무화과나무가 무성치 못하며 포도나무에 열매가 없으며 감람나무에 소출이 없으며 밭에 식물이 없으며 우리의 양이 없으며 외양간에 소가 없을지라도 나는 여호와를 인하여 즐거워하며 나의 구원의 하나님을 인하여 기뻐하리로다.
What can we be thankful for on Thanksgiving Day this year 2020? Especially this year, we cannot remove COVID-19. Corona-19 has put the world in a difficult situation. But what can we be thankful for? Because of it, we will be able to find more things to be thankful. What can students appreciate when they can't go to school or meet their friends? We cannot go to Korea or come to Korea. What can we thank? How can we be thankful while having financial difficulties? We are afraid that we might get the virus, but how can we be thankful in this situation? How can we be thankful in this situation when we can't eat together at church, drink coffee, and laugh together on the second floor in church? There were especially many typhoons this year. There are many people who have been damaged. What can we thank in this situation? The situation is tough, but I hope we can find thankful things. Last week, I learned something from reading some books about gratitude. There was also the appreciation of famous people. Among them, Oprah Winfrey is probably the most frequently featured person. She is well known for being a person who appreciates every day. Oprah Winfrey says, "I have never passed a day without saying, 'Thank you, I'm truly blessed.'" And Nelson Mandela, South Africa's first black president, is also a man of gratitude. He spent 28 years in prison unjustly without seeing his family, but he did not lose his gratitude. The first thing he said after he got out of prison was "Thank you." Because he was a man of gratitude, he did not avenge those who put him in prison, even when he became president. He was able to reconcile beautifully with the white people because he was a person of gratitude. I have several books about gratitude. Also, I bought some more of them and read them last week. I think I buy a book or two about gratitude every year ahead of Thanksgiving. And I found one very simple truth. It is not about reading a book of gratitude, but you have to practice. Several books of gratitude emphasize the practice of being thankful. Whether you write a gratitude journal, write a thank you note, or put it in words, you must continue to find and practice gratitude. Try buying a note and start writing your own gratitude journal. The lives of people who habitually record and express their gratitude in words every day have become amazing. Those who succeed were a person of gratitude. People who live in daily complaints have been very unsuccessful. So I practice. I was ashamed to deliver a word without taking a note of it while preparing for the Word of God. So I spent the last week writing down my thanks in my notes. The most well-known book about gratitude in recent years is the book The Gratitude
영어로는 좀
Diaries.
다른데요. The Great Attitude Diaries.
This book is written by Janice Kaplan. I introduced this book to Saturday's Praise on Thanksgiving Day last year. This book has been the Amazon bestsellers, New York Times bestsellers, and has been published in countries around the world.
제작자이고 작가인
The broadcast producer and author, Janice Kaplan, did not write the theory of gratitude, but rather recorded her gratitude and compared changes after a year of self-inspection.
감사를 실천하면서 달라진 것들을 책에 담고 있어요. 남편이 달라.
The book is full of stories that have actually changed through gratitude, including husband, child, work, health, and diet.
그리고
Work with one's husband on the idea of being able to
남편과
practice.
얘기하다가 이것을 실천한 이야기도 책에
The book is full of stories that
감사를
have
통해서 실제로
actually
변화된
changed
이야기가
through
책에
gratitude.
가득합니다.
There are few points that are relevant to the message today. It is a part related to comparing. First is to compare possessions. A behavioral economics major professor in Cornell University, Professor Gilovich, looked at how people spend money and how happy people feel. After repeating the study, he found that the joy of experience lasts longer than the object. We get used to things very quickly, so we do not get very interested in them later on. Psychologists call it the hedonic treadmill. If we buy something we want, but we are not satisfied with it, we buy something else. Even if the product gets bigger and more expensive, the satisfaction is not great. An object cannot bring happiness. There is what sociologists call an endowment effect. When you own an item, you start to appreciate its value. But when we try to appreciate the object, the problem is that we get to compare with what others have. Then you lose your gratitude. So I urge you not to focus on your possessions, but on your experience.
그래서 소유물에 집중하지 말고 경험에 집중하라. 저자가 이렇게 말합니다.
Another is comparing the salary. Sam Park, a 33-year-old bond broker who worked in Wall Street, contributed to the New York Times commentary.
합니다. 월가를 월스트리트 월가를 떠나면서
When he left Wall Street, he got paid $4 billion. It cost $3.6 million in Korean won, incentives, and he was angry because he did not receive enough money. He did not think of his salary in global standards, but compared it to his colleague right next to him.
그래서 자기가 알았대.
So he left Wall Street knowing that he was addicted to money and decided to live with gratitude.
떠나게 됐습니다.
Perhaps this part will be sympathetic. 1/3 of the world lives on less than $2 a day. It's $100 pesos based on Philippine currency. Depending on which direction we compare, we can live an unhappy life. How much damage did the Philippines suffer from this week's typhoon? The river has flooded. We are in a safe house. But it is sad to see people who lost their homes. I pray that it will be recovered quickly. Looking at these situations, we realize that we are not lacking. But we will never be happy if we keep on comparing ourselves with the people who have better cars and people who live in better houses. We should never forget and always concentrate on the first thing we receive. The first thing is focus on what you get. The fact that the owner left his own possession to the servants on his way to another country means that he has surely trusted them. In verse 15, after seeing the servants, the owner gave those 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent according to their ability. This is also about us. He gave us according to his ability. People have limitations in their talents, and they have limitations in their ability to handle it. It is fair because God has given talents according to the talents He has judged for each. God is fair, and the owner is fair. The owner gave those 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent. It means that the owner is fair. When we think of God as owner, He gave different environments and different talents. And God is fair. If there is any economic part given last month, God gave it right. Thanks begins when you acknowledge this and value it. His complaint was that he cannot understand the fairness of his master. He was not able to value what he received, but rather he complains, "Why do not give 5 talents to others and give me a talent?" To start, you should accept and understand the fact that God is fair. As I prepared for sermon, I thought it will be nice to get 1 talent. I thought about what I would do with 1 talent. The value of talent is a large sum of money equivalent to a worker's 15 years' salary. It's a small amount compared to 5 talents, but it is not a small amount of money. When you look at the 1 talent that owner gave, it is big amount. Some say it is 300 million won in terms of the current unit. I imagine if I were given 300 million won, what would I do? Where can we invest? Because I have 3 million won, should I buy a condo and rent it? Or shall we have a small restaurant? Because my wife is a good cooker, should we have a restaurant? Or could we help people who were affected by the typhoon? There are so many things we can do. Will God give it to you? But how did this servant do nothing with that big money? But this servant did not care about what he had received.
수를 생각하지 않았던 것 같습니다. 그대로 땅에 묻어두고
So he buried it in the ground and took it to his master. He gave up his mission and missed the chance.
이 종은
You may think this servant is stupid, but maybe we can be just like the servant.
모습이 될 수도 있을 것입니다. 오늘
Try to
여러분의
think
한
of your
달란트를
one talent.
생각해 보십시오. 다른 사람의 5달란트를 쳐다보고
You may have your own gift that you've forgotten while looking at someone else's talent.
크게 생각하지 않았던 여러분의 한 달란트. 집안에 있는 물건들
You can look back at the things in the house, and you may think like this: there's a things like this. Why didn't I know that? Try to look at your bank account and try to see if you have a little balance.
이런 게 있었네.
Then you may think that you've got forgotten about what's in it. You will have your own talent that others recognize.
그동안에는 그런 건
In the meantime, you can think that that's not a very important talent, but it's something that other people can do.
나만 인정하는
Only me who don't admit it, but others says it's talent.
있습니다. 이 나만의 한 달란트
Let's look back at my talent. Let us look my talent. This is the first thing I ask to you.
여러분에게 권면하는 첫 번째 권면입니다.
Secondly, do not compare.
하는 것이에요.
There is always a sense of comparison in the nature of depraved human being.
하나님께서
When God made us, He did not make us different to make us fight against each other for who was better.
만드신 게 아니에요.
Therefore, each and every one is the work of God. If Almighty God created us, we are all masterpiece of God.
그러면
Then it's just a comparison.
상품과
It's different between good and works.
이야기합니다.
The goods are listed the same,
나열되어
but the works are incomparable.
하나밖에 없는
It is only one thing.
어떤 뭐 상품이 나올 때도
When a product comes out, it is a limited edition. The price will be increased, but the work is not a value, and it is very valuable because there is only one thing.
아주 가치 있는 것이죠. 우리도
So we do. The only person in the world is me.
마찬가지입니다.
Do not compare. You have only one husband in the world,
세상에 하나밖에 없고
and never try to compare him with a husband who have a good salary on the next door. God gave us our own child and own family.
하나님이 만들어 주신
Do you not love yourselves the way God has made you, or do not know the value of what you have, and complain about what you don't have, and waste your time giving up your duties and missing numerous opportunities?
좀 돌아보는 시간이 되었으면 좋겠습니다. 자, 오늘 이 말씀 가운데에서
Think of the person who received the 2 talents in today's text. Who did he compare with?
자, 이 2달란트 받은 사람은 누구와 비교했을까요? 5달란트 받은 사람과 비교하지
When he compared to the person who received the 5 talents and also 1 talent,
만약 이 사람이
he would never been happy.
하면 이 사람은 가장 불행한 사람이 되었을 것입니다. 장사를 제대로
But he did his best in his business and made double the profit.
열심히 장사해서
You can see that he did not waste his time comparing with someone.
하느라고 자신의 시간을 허비하지 않았습니다.
Isn't it precious? God praises their attitude,
칭찬하십니다.
same as 5 talents
도 마찬가지.
and also same as 1 talent.
오히려
Rather, the person who received the 5 talents left 5 talents, considering the leftover talent. He was not like that. Nevertheless, they received the same praise. It was not a compliment to the bad, but a compliment to the attitude and mind. The owner praised them for being a good and loyal servant. The owner praised the attitude more than the others left. Therefore, we don't have to focus too much on the results as we work. We do not need to think, he's got a big job and he's done so many things, but I am not even noticed because I only did a small amount of work. We do not have to think like this. So we should not focus too much on the results while doing God's work. We can also compare habitually. When you are in a bad mood, think, am I comparing myself with others? Or why do I feel so bad? There will be times when I feel better and suddenly feel worse because of someone who is better than me and who is in a better environment than me. So what we have to do is to not compare. We have a lot of time left. There are remaining talents. Don't ignore your talent because of looking at someone else's talent. Let us think our lesson, do not compare. The third is, do not be afraid of adventure. An ungrateful person's attitude was for safety. People want a smooth, a life without problems, trouble-free life. People do not like pain or hurt. Maybe the servant also don't want to get hurt and be failed. The servant with 1 talent buried his master's things in the ground. Why did he do that? If you start a business for no reason and fail, you can be scolded by the owner. And he got scared of it. Is the business easy? Someone got envious with hearing president and asked to want business. But people who are doing business say that it's not anyone can do it. So he found a way to not listen to the owner's scolding, not to suffer. What did he choose to do? It was to keep it and he received it, and then he gave it back. Was that a wrong idea? Or isn't it a good thing? He didn't read the owner's thoughts well. People have ideas about safety. Many parents think that our children are safe and they just want to go moderately without going to the way others do not go. Even though I want to be safe and want to be in the safe place, the world don't have perfect safety. There is pain in our lives, even though we don't want to, or even though we live safety. And there will be a dangerous life. We live in a world of anxiety and sin.
에덴 동산 이후에
After the Garden of Eden, our lives are full of sin.
예수님께서도
Jesus did not live a life without hardship in this world.
예수님도 고통스러운
Jesus also went to Jerusalem not to live a painful life without the cross, but Jesus went to a crucified life.
지는 삶으로 가셨습니다. 제자들에게도 너희들에게는 고난 없는 삶.
Jesus has never promised his disciples a life without hardships or problems. Rather, he said to them that they will suffer as he does.
이렇게 말씀하셨습니다. 그래서 우리는
We have no safety zones from the start. Even starting like this could be a direction in the right life.
옳은 삶의 방향일 수 있습니다.
Safety is not a goal for our lives, but a path to adventure with the Lord by faith. Maintaining the status quo is not a way to faith. The Bible doesn't talk about how to avoid wounds, how to avoid hardships, or how to live without sacrifice.
그러면
What is the word of species in the Bible?
형통이라는 단어
Is it economic stability or painless? It means that God is with us.
나와 함께 하신다 이거예요.
God is with
하나님이 나와
me.
함께 하신다.
It will be difficult to understand, and even I can go that I haven't been to. That way is what God is with us.
그래서 우리는
So we don't have to be afraid of difficulties coming to us. There is saying, all words have a lifespan. The big problem we think is that it ends someday. Corona has a lifespan.
이 코로나 사태도
We don't know how it will be, a vaccine, a cure, or a social distance, but have a lifetime.
알 수 없으나 수명이 있습니다. 그렇기 때문에 우리
So we can be comforted, and we are sure that it will not be hard forever. What was your problem last year?
어떤 분은 이렇게 표현합니다. 너무
Some people say it was hard enough to die.
힘들었어요. 이렇게 표현하시는
They describe like that, but the new year came.
어떤 분은 그때 정말
Some people forgot why it was hard at that time.
그랬어요. 이렇게 말씀하시는 분들도 있습니다.
When you have a problem, don't think of it as an obstacle, but instead think you were given a chance. This is God's will.
뜻이 있겠습니다.
What does the Lord want?
무엇일까요? 우리가 어떤
How does God want us to live?
원하실까요? 우리는
There will be difficulties when I say that I do what God has commanded me to do
그래서 나에게
and what God has entrusted me to do.
한다고 할 때에 어려움도 있을 것이다. 여러분 여기에
He must have had a hard time running a huge fund for 5 talents.
운영하면서 힘들지 않았을까요? 2달란트 받은 사람은 이러지도 못하고
Wasn't it hard for him in the middle of 2 talents?
입장에서 그에게는 힘든 일이 있지 않았을까요? 그러면서
They would have think, what is the owner's thought? The crucial difference between a person who received 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent are that they did not know the owner's intention again. We should not fail here today as we live our lives of faith. Of course, some people have a hard time to handle, and some people will still live a smooth life of seeing others. But if we are Christians, we should not all fail here. You must know the will of the owner.
우리를 향한
We must not let the God who has allowed us life, materials, family, afterlife, and health, we shouldn't let out the things what He wants us to do.
안 된다는 것이죠.
The one who received 1 talent failed. That person got failed to discover the Lord's will, feared of adventure. He did not know what the owner meant. It was the owner's will to return it, and the owner as scolding person.
치는 사람이다.
He misunderstood that. Is the owner a scolder? Why scold? It's because the servant didn't do anything.
것에 야단치는
God is also not happy that we do nothing.
하지 않는 것을 기뻐하지 않으실 거예요. 기회가 있는
There was a chance, but didn't do it. It is a wisdom to discern God's will.
지혜입니다. 나는 나쁜
I don't do anything
행동을
bad.
많이 하지 않았어요. 여기에 만족.
Will the Lord be happy to be satisfied here and to be satisfied that I won't listen to others?
하고 나아가는 것을 주님께서 기뻐하실지. 정말 주님의 뜻을 헤아리면서
We can try various things and go for the glory of God. And sometimes we can hear the dislikes, and sometimes we can fall.
가끔은 우리가 넘어질 수도 있습니다.
Even though God clearly believes that He will be pleased,
믿습니다. 여기
you can fail for many reasons, like a person who received 1 talent.
내게
I can spend a lot of my life comparing myself with another person without seeing what I have allowed.
허비할 수도 있습니다. 하나님께서
God told us to do it and tell it,
시행하라고 실천하라고 말씀하셨는데
but God will be rebuked, and we see ourselves sitting too hesitantly without practicing it.
보면서 하나님께서 책망하실 것입니다. 하나님께서는
God is the one who live it to us. He is God who not only live it to us, but also provides us with a good deal of it.
그리고
He is responsible for trying and failing. If the person who received the 1 talent, when the part of the 1 talent got damaged, would the owner not blame it? The influence is a little short compared to the other 2, but the owner nevertheless trusts him.
실패할 수도 있겠다.
When the owner takes them,
하면서 주인이
thinking that they will fail,
그 사람이
but when he tried and suffered from some damage, the owner would have seen it beautifully.
아름답게 보셨을 거예요. 참 너는
Oh, you know what I mean. You tried it too.
참
How good and loyal servant. And the owner would have praised him like 2 other servants.
했을 것입니다. 오늘 우리는
Today is the Thanksgiving Day. Maybe it was a lot harder on our way here. This year was harder than any other year.
또 어떤 분은 이런
Others take comfort in this.
저만 힘들어
Is it only me who is tired?
힘드시죠라고 어떤
When I talked to them to give comfort, there were people telling me like that.
하시는 분들 많이 계세요. 저만 힘든가요?
It is perhaps barely to say that we are in the difficult time.
어쩌면
Where can we overcome this time in a crisis? That is not to miss out our gratitude. It is to habitualizing gratitude.
있습니까?
It is myself to be grateful.
감사를
Thanksgiving Day once, and in 2020, you habituated your gratitude and habituated your gratitude notes, appreciation journals, and appreciation languages, and did it well, like 5 talents, 2 talents person, being a faithful servant. Bless you and me who praise by the Lord in the name of the Lord.